All right, here we go. Man, I have scoured YouTube and watched so many videos about this topic, and I'm gonna put my little 2 cents in, all right? So, why black guys, I would say why black guys, they like foreign women. They're just enthralled by them. And obviously, I do not speak for all black men because I'm not every black guy on this planet, but I can speak from personal experience and from some of my buddies. And then also, I'm going to talk about other interesting thing too, because most people, especially the women, and then also some brothers out there, they're like, well, they automatically think you hate black women. It couldn't be further from the truth. Americanized women. That's what I meant. My personal opinion, I just have more of an affinity towards foreign women. You know, a beautiful soul is a beautiful soul regardless. A beautiful black woman is a beautiful black woman. Beautiful energy, smile. That it's irrelevant. But I will say, in my personal experience, from what I've seen, and first of all, let's say what the other videos have basically said is that I've heard from all sides that some brothers come from this angry approach, this like mad, hateful, hurt approach, like all black women are, they're not getting them no play. They're all stuck up. They got this. They call it the Beyonce syndrome, the single ladies, that Miss Independent. We don't need no man. Which there's absolute validity to that argument. Absolutely, I can see that for sure, and you can see how that's played a role in our society. But moving along, I'll get to this point. So I get where you're coming from, but then you have on the other end, you have the brothers who say, no matter what, whether they got the girlfriend, whether they're married, I got my black woman, she's great. Y'all brothers, y'all need to just step it up, man. Y'all need to man up. Y'all just can't control one. Then you have that whole argument. There's this other guy who made a comment. He says, in our society today, people see things as just black and white. Not everything is black and white. And he was referring to, a little off topic, but it'll loop back around, I promise. He was saying, like, for some people in the fitness industry, and because I'm very health conscious and professionally made money because of the fitness industry, is people are like, well, you got to go vegan if you want to be healthy. If you ain't vegan, then that's it for you. Or you got to be paleo, or you got to be fruitarian. And it's like everybody's so black and white. Same thing with religious institutions. Like everybody's so black and white. So he's referring, some people, if they have a piece of fruit, they could die. Some people, if they have, certain carbs, literally it breaks down their immune system. So you can't be so black and white. That's my point. And it's interesting that I use those words, but you can't be so black and white in this argument. So I could see both points. But what I can contribute to this is there is a definite appeal. First of all, let's be real here. Like, we're going to get to the core right here. We are foreigners. First of all, if you want to be absolutely, we're foreigners. Most people think, oh, I only date American women. Brother, you ain't from America, homie. You maybe were born here, but your ancestry is not from here. So you're all foreigners to begin with. Okay? So it's not like domestic against the foreigners. You're all foreigners. It's really against this mentality, against that mentality. If that makes any sense. It's the mentalities. Now, you will find certain women in certain pockets within the United States who have more of a welcoming, loving personality. And I'm not and I'm not saying submissive, because submissive is an interesting term, because unfortunately it has a negative connotation. I believe, I'll say this. There's been people who use the word submissive, and basically that means that we all have, whether you believe it or not, this doesn't mean that necessarily certain genders are incapable, but even through, if you look at the animal kingdom, there are certain gender roles that are played out. That when these gender roles are switched around, right, you have issues, you have problems within the basically the ecosystem. You just do, period. So there are certain things that men are absolutely excel at and are great at, and then certain things that women are just incredible at. It doesn't mean that they can't be intertwined in the switch, but there's just certain things that, yo, this is what it is. This is what we're good at. You know, I was watching my grandfather the other day. I was watching something about Animal Planet, Animal Kingdom, and it basically would say, it showed like this. Basically, the lion, he had his group, or he had his harem, I guess you could say, and he was basically the protector. And when anybody would come close to the group, he would fend them off. Those are certain gender roles that are played within that kingdom. And you know what? You know, humans are not that different from nature, from the animal kingdom. They're not that different in that respect. And that's just one example. But there are certain roles to play. There are certain roles where men are submissive to women in certain aspects because of our inferiority in those ways. You know? Like, I may be completely wrong. Far as children. You know, obviously because of women who actually have children, men are unable to have them, women who actually have children have more of a connection with the child. And even scientists, you can even read books on evolutionary psychology, the maternal side of the family is more invested than the paternal side of the family. That's just how it is. Regardless, you could even see that in households all across America, all across the world. The maternal side, the mom, the grandma, the woman who gave birth, her brother, they're more invested even in the gifts that are given. These are studies. These are scientific studies. So all that to say, there is a difference in the roles and we all have parts to play. That's the point I'm making. Now, because of the rise of certain movements, right, these roles are starting to be switched a little bit. And that's why I could see on that one end a lot of frustration from certain gentlemen, okay? And then on the other end, I could see how guys are just like, well, you just gotta, just man up. So I just want to put that out there to just say, I get it from both sides. But then also to put this and interject with this, referring to this other guy, I won't say his name, but he says, don't be so black and white. Don't be so black and white on things. So, ladies, so if you're watching this, you're a lady, why do brothers like this? It's because, as far as the foreign mentality, a lot of it has to do with, in certain cultures, they still maintain the gender roles, right? It's not seen as weakness to support your man. And I don't mean, slaving away on a stove, which obviously cooking for a man's important. Let's just say this. I had, this one chick I was dating, and she's a really great girl. But it's the little things. And I remember she was like, I was like, is it okay? I mean, I cook all the time, which I don't mind. I love cooking. I really do like cooking. But I was like, be cool. Could you, if you don't mind, by the time I get home, could you cook something up real quick? Well, I don't cook. I just don't do that. See, it necessarily wasn't about the cooking. It was about the willingness to do it in the first place. Far as if you have support and love for me, even if you were the worst, that you're willing to do it. But you won't even try to do it. Period. You won't even do it. So it's those little things. And also, it's women underestimate. I actually did an interview for a famous dating site. And they were asking me, it was about black women. And the lady was a black woman, and she was asking me the question, and she was like, if black women only knew. And you know what I answered? I said, if black women only knew the power that they have, the absolute power that they have. And I elaborated on that. I said, if you look throughout history, the rise and fall of a man most likely has been dependent upon a woman. And with a great woman behind him who encourages, appreciates, uplifts, and speaks life to on a continual basis, that guy can go to the moon. Literally. Right? So maybe I'm completely wrong. And brothers, please comment below and let me know, because I don't know everything. But I would say this: encouragement and appreciation for the little things, not and verbalizing it. That's what I mean. Encouraging appreciation and verbalizing that to your potential mate, and this goes both ways as well, does wonders for a guy. Absolute wonders for a guy. It makes him feel better about himself. It raises his self-esteem. It makes him want to provide and do more. It makes him happy to have you around. That's how, I mean, I've spoken to some women and they're just like, I just don't get it. I see this nice looking brother and then he's with some busted chick. And I'm like, well, it's obvious. And even though men are visual, they really are visual, it could be two things. It's because maybe he has low self-esteem and he feels that's the only woman he can get. Or number two is she realizes how she may not look the best, but she's going to look her best. And most importantly, she's going to uplift that man, appreciate him, encourage him. All right? And verbalize that to him on a daily basis. If he's able to bring home $2,000 a month, she's going to be like, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. You know? If she notices that he's cleaning up some around the house, she's going to say something about it. And I'm only speaking from the men's perspective. And obviously there are things from the other perspective, but it's those little things. So what most men see is they see that in other cultures, and that's attractive. It's like a humility in certain foreign cultures in women. Appreciation, love, encouragement, and then also beauty too. So it's like a win-win-win situation. So this is just, I love, talking about this stuff because there's so much intertwined and involved, and a lot of people, women get mad on that, and even guys get mad about this stuff too. And guys support it, and then women can see it too. But it's it's a deep thing. It's a really, really deep thing. And one of the arguments is, brothers just can't handle it, so they just rush them out. One of the videos is talking about guys going to Brazil, and it's not necessarily rushing off. I believe it's you want to live a great life, and you want to be around people who love life, especially women who you can just go and talk to and have a great conversation with. Have great energy, beautiful, open, receptive, regardless if they're ugly or beautiful, that you can have those conversations. And in certain places, you are unable to have that. Let's call it what it is. In certain cities, now there's certain people within those cities, obviously, but in certain places and establishments, you can tell there's a difference in how the female species operates. A lot can be contributed to this. A lot can. Obviously, movies take a massive part in this. Music does. Celebrities, all that have a massive part into this. It literally shapes the mind. It's like, that's why even if you look at women, they read a lot of romance novels. It basically plays on their fantasies. Or, okay, there's a woman, correct me if I'm wrong, I know somebody knows this below. The Duchess of Aquitaine, one of those women, basically who instituted how women should be courted. And so women have this idea of exactly how it's supposed to work, right? So they develop and create these stories in their mind of how a man is supposed to treat her. even though they may not be incorrect. And guys do it too on certain instances. So all that to say, a lot of us are just really basically molded by ideas and beliefs from outside sources, which are not serving us. They're not serving us whatsoever. So what do we move on from here? It's seeking out the truth, seeking out and understanding the other species, really at a core level, what they really, really, really want. As I digress, but yeah, brothers, you know, I've been overseas, been to Europe, been to Mexico. I haven't been to South America yet. I'm going there a few months. Obviously, I get inspired by watching a lot of these videos about how great Colombia is, and Brazil and Argentina. You know, I had a girl a day, and she was like, you know, you just want to go. This is what she said. She was like, you just want to travel around the world so you can just go there and just fuck other girls. What she said. And being a man, like, can I be honest, you know, of course you want to go where there's beautiful women. That's how I am biologically wired. Period. Every single guy is like that, right? I even was at I was at a church service a long time ago, and even the pastor got up there and he said he had an instance at the airport where he saw this gorgeous woman. The holy man saw this gorgeous woman, and he was married, and he looked at her and he said, "Oh my goodness." And then he wanted to even look again. That's how we're wired. That's how we're wired, right? But then he talked about how he realized he had his wife at home, and that's great. That's good for him. But that's how you're wired. So the people who are talking bad about these guys, that's how we're wired. We're wired to go and to seek out where the most beautiful women are. Our whole purpose of life, according to Darwin, evolution, and psychology, is survival and reproduction. That's the whole point. We want to get food, get shelter, make sure our survival needs are taken care of, and then go find the best physical mate we possibly can. So don't get mad. One guy said, he was like, some of these women, they just can't compete because women are beautiful, and then also the mindset, right? So which is very interesting. But if you're anything like me, having a woman now, as you just kind of evolve through the process, obviously it will always be beauty, because that's just how I'm wired, and I've accepted that fact, right? You want to be with the best potential mate. I used to say growing up that, I'm a tall guy. I'd be like, I want to go 5'11", 6 foot, because I want to have some kids that are going to play in the NBA. And I would joke around, but actually, was I joking around? I think I was pretty serious. You want to have the best offspring. You just do. That's just how it works. But, thinking about going to South America, you want to just live better. Yes, it's about the women, and the beautiful women. But most importantly, it's about the lifestyle. It's about the people. It's about the energy from people. It's about where you feel appreciated. Especially men, especially African American men. It's really about being appreciated. You want to feel appreciated and have encouragement. It does wonders for a guy. Wonders. So if you go down there, there's one guy, he's a comedian, he went down there and he was like, one of the best experiences of his life. And he actually went down there, and when he came back, he broke up with his girlfriend immediately. And he was like, there's no way you guys can compete. He was like, the women, they were beautiful, they were respectful, they had great energy, they loved life, they believed in family and all these things. It was like a supernova explosion of just great things that were happening down there. And he was like, there's no way. Like, nobody can compete with that. Now, would you find that here in the States? Absolutely. Met some incredible, absolutely wonderful women of all races. All races. Other women of all races. But if you haven't, especially you got to think from a guy's perspective, if there's a plethora in a certain region, why wouldn't you want to flock there? Why wouldn't you want to go explore and see that? I have buddies now. We talk about it almost every week, about Brazil, about Colombia, South America, about Spain. I mean, so man, this topic is just absolutely just fascinating to me and others too. And man, this is great. Travel is so important, not only for for mating, but also just to expand your references, expand your mind, because especially in North America, and especially when people are bombarded with certain media messages, and it basically molds and shapes your view of the world. If you consume those, man and female, you have to step outside. As one guy says, you have to step outside the matrix. You got to get outside the matrix, because if not, I mean, let's just say this. What if you realize your ideals, beliefs, and values were all a lie? That all the beliefs you had about a certain race of people, about how relationships were supposed to be done, was a lie. You know? I mean, you hear these stories, especially about these guys back on topic, who they're in their 40s, 50s, and they go down there, or they go somewhere else, or they start traveling, and they're just like, oh my God, this is what I missed out this whole time? This type of lifestyle? It's just a different lifestyle. Even if you just disregard the sex thing and the mating, and you just look at just the work lifestyle, it's a completely different mentality over there. As far as they believe obviously in working and being productive, but also they believe in relaxation, and they believe in family and community, and they give them 3 months off vacay in certain parts in Europe. Or I watched a video the other day in Colombia where the city doesn't wake up till like 10, 11 o'clock in the morning because they're out having a great time. I mentioned this story a while in one of my other videos. It talks about this guy who was a fisherman. And this fisherman, basically, he had a small little boat, had enough fish for him and his family and some friends. And there was this business guy from New York, multi-millionaire. And I'll make it really, really short for you guys. And the businessman saw the fisherman and said, hey, man, how much fish you got? He's like, oh, this is all I got for me, myself, and my family. And the guy was like, well, what you could do is you could expand, blah, 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 blah. Then you can move to this office in America, New York. Then you have a major corporation. And then he was like, the Mexican guy was like, and do what, senor? He was like, well, then after that, here's the great part. You could sell off your company, have millions in the bank. And the Mexican guy was like, and do what, senor? And then he was like, then you can move to a nice tropical location, and you can fish whenever you wanted to, just enough for you and your family. And then you could go and enjoy yourself at nighttime. So the moral of the story is, he was already living the dream down there. He was already doing it. So the mentality is in the Western culture to other cultures is completely just radically different. And that permeates into the dating world, the mating world, the reproduction, their work and their lifestyle. So that's why, I may be wrong, but that's why I believe that it appeals to not only myself, but to other black guys of living that life, being around those type of people, having you could call it, like one brother says, having just a stress-free life. You have a lot of money, that's fantastic. If you don't have a lot of money, you can still have a great time. You can still be around. I mean, it's like one guy said, it's black man's paradise, right? He says, you can have the money or not have the money, but either way, you're going to have friends. People are going to be more open, be more receptive. There's going to be beautiful women. You get to converse and actually talk with the locals and the people, be around beautiful women. It's like a win-win-win situation. Everywhere. I met this guy when I was in Miami. That's why I love Miami, because that's like a mixture of culture too. New York has a little bit. I was on the West Coast for a while. But met this guy from Brazil, and we just, started chopping it up. And he was like, after a few days, we were cool, man. Like, we were just, like best friends. And he was telling me, and he was just open about life. And the people that I met while I was there, it's a different energy. Even if you go to different places in the United States, people give off a different energy. So all that to say, that's why, man, travel is important. Travel is great, and especially for romance. There's so many guys. I have, man, family members, dad, grandfather, all these guys who traveled and went overseas, and they said it was just wonderful. And one of my family members said if they didn't have to, they wouldn't never came back. Now, if that would happen, I don't know if I would even be born, but they were basically, I knew what he was getting to. He was saying, he was talking about the beautiful women overseas, and a lot of his buddies who were in the war, they stayed there. And it was just, it's a fantastic quality of life. Fantastic. So leave your comments below. Let me know what you think on this. You know, I don't believe there's necessarily a wrong or right answer. It's really your opinion and what fits best for you. Because some people may like, you know what? I love being here. I love the type of women here. I love that. That's cool, man. That's really cool. And some people are on the opposite end. But bashing one another, I guess they always have the same. Just let them, you know, let them. In this one book, it says, let that be their experience. You know, you do you, right? But I hope I broke it down just a little bit as far as guys, you know, we're visually stimulated. We love women that look good, especially great energy, that are appreciative, that encourage, that are willing to do the little things, that love life, man. You know, no drama. Just love, you know what I mean? No drama. So, and I'm pretty sure there's women who want the same thing too. Absolutely. So I get it. But all that to say, I'm planning my trip to go. In a nutshell, I'm 26 minutes. Wow. Planning my trip to go down there, and it's going to be great. It's going to be absolutely great, just because being around different people changes your life. So, man, if you watched any of this video, man, more power to you, because I didn't realize I was talking for 26 minutes, 27 minutes, but, you know, brothers, travel. Make it happen. Have a great one.